Hello students, welcome to chapter 7 part 2, Control and Coordination. So in chapter 7 part 2, we will be discussing on hormones and tropism. Hormones. Plants cannot think like human beings as they lack brain. Thus the growth of plants is regulated by certain chemical substances which are synthesized by the plants in very small amounts. These are known as plant hormones or phytohormones. Now we know for sure that plants don't have brain, so the thinking portion that is being done in human beings cannot be done by the plants. The various processes or systems that needs to be regulated in a human beings can't be regulated in plants due to the absence of their brain. So the process of growth, respiration, digestion, development, and responses to stimuli, all of these can't be done by the plant due to the lack of the brain. But that doesn't mean things doesn't take place in the plants, because plants do grow, they develop, they do respond to stimulus or the environment. And these are done with the help of some very small chemical substances which is released by the plant itself, called hormones or phytohormones. Now these phytohormones are organic substances which either promote or inhibit growth. So phytohormones help to coordinate growth, development, and responses to the environment. The organic substances which are plant hormone or phytohormones, these do not just promote growth, which do not just help plants to grow, but they also inhibit growth. Now, phytohormones can be defined as a chemical substances which is produced naturally in plants and is capable of translocation, which means that it can be transported from one part of a plant to another part of a plant. It regulates one or more physiological when present in low concentrations. So in plants, 5 main types of naturally occurring plant hormones are present. They are auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, abscisic acid or ABA. We shall discuss this in detail. So the major 5 plant hormones and their functions are given in the table. First is the auxin. Its function is, it promotes division, cell elongation, root formation, inhibits flowering, stimulates respiration, etc. Next is gibberellin. Induces parthenocarpy, prevents aging or senescence, brings about increase in size of fruit and flower, etc. Now, parthenocarpy means the development of a fruit without the process of fertilization. So the flower does not get fertilized, but they do grow into a fruit. That process is termed as parthenocarpy, and it is done with the help of a plant hormone, gibberellin. We come to the next type of hormone, cytokinin. It induces and controls cell enlargement, suppresses apical dominance, delays aging, induces flowering, etc. Next, ethylene. It leads to aging, fruit ripening, and yellowing of leaves, etc. And the last type of plant hormone is abscisic acid or ABA. It inhibits growth, promotes falling of leaves, flowers or fruits, inhibits seeds germination, promotes the effects of auxin and gibberellins. Moving on to the next, we have tropism. It's hard for us to think of plants capable of any sort of movement, but they do possess some sort of movement in the direction of stimulus that is being supplied to them. Now, this movement of any organism, whether it is plant or animal, in the direction of the stimulus or away from it, is termed as tropic movement or tropism. We have different types of tropism present in the plants, which is caused by different types of stimulus such as sunlight, gravity, chemicals, etc. And we will be learning some of these down below. So the first tropism is phototropism. Plants grow towards or away from the light. The type of tropism in the response to light is called phototropism. In general, the stems usually show positive tropism, while roots show negative phototropism. Leaves also positively respond towards the source of light. As you can see in the picture, we have the stems and leaves that is growing towards the light, whereas the roots are away from light. Moving on to the next type of tropism, that is geotropism. It is a type of tropism where plants show some growth in response to gravity. Stems are negative to the geotropism, while roots are positive to the geotropism. As you can see in the picture, we have the stems and leaves that are showing negative geotropism. That is, they are growing upwards rather than downwards. Whereas the roots, they are growing downwards, showing positive geotropism. Next type of tropism is chemotropism. There are few chemical substances which are actively responsible for bringing a movement in plant organs. When plants grow in response to certain chemicals, this type of response is known as chemotropism. Few examples of chemotropism movements are the conversion of a flower into fruit, the growth of a pollen tube down the style during fertilization movement. As you can see in the picture, this is how the fertilization process takes place in a flower. The pollen grain, once it sticks to the stigma, it creates a pollen tube. Now, this creation of pollen tube towards the oval is done with the help of a chemical. This movement of the pollen tube from the stigma towards the oval is due to chemotropism. Moving on to the next, we have hydrotropism. The movement or the growth of the plant in relation to the stimulus of water are called hydrotropic movement, and the equivalent response to the stimulus of water is called hydrotropism. In this type of movement, roots show the positive hydrotropic response as they move and grow towards the water, as you can see in the picture given below. We go to the last type of tropism, that is Tigmotropism. Every one of us have seen climbers. Climbers are those types of plants which tends to grow on a certain support or on some solid objects, and this is done with the help of tendrils or twiners. Now these tendrils, they latch onto any solid object for some support to grow properly. Now this movement of tendrils and circling or grabbing hold on to any sort of solid object that it comes in contact with is termed as Tigmotropism. So that was the last topic for this chapter 7, part 2. Hope you have understood something. You can go back to the video to listen to it once more. Have a good and pleasant day.